with that. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law, this states for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by publication in the Westfield Leader and by posting and filing of said notice in the office of the municipal clerk. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the board, of the planning board. At this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence and a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Lombardo is excused. William Yearstay.
Here.
Sarno.
Here.
Stephen Reed.
Here.
Kathy Bellagio. Here. Robert Shear.
Here.
Paul Tarantino.
Here.
Gene Gennady.
Here.
Michael Heenan.
Here.
Craig McHarrick. Steve Napolitano.
Here.
John Malcolm.
Here.
And Denise DeSantis.
Okay, at this time, has everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes of April 17th of the planning board? And if so, do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. The minutes are adopted. Resolution. We have memorializing the planning board review of Divisions 2, South Avenue Transit Oriented Redevelopment Plan Report, and this is a negative dated November 2015 and revised through May 27th of 2016. And Donald, did you have?
Just the one-page resolution.
Okay. And everyone will take a moment to read it.
I'm going to make one suggestion myself, Mr. Chairman, right at the end where it says the application was moved by Michael Vina. It wasn't really an application, it said the matter
The matter, okay.
was moved by Michael Vina.
Anyone?
I make a motion we adopt the resolution as amended.
Second.
Roll call?
William Yearstay.
Aye.
Stephen Reed.
Yes.
Kathy Bellagio.
Aye.
Robert Shear.
Yes.
Paul Tarantino.
Yes.
Gene Gennady.
Yes.
Michael Heenan.
Yes.
Steve Napolitano.
Okay, and we have a second resolution for case PB 17-4 at 550 Fourth Avenue.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, with regard to that one, which is the matter of David and Rose, I guess pronounced Conseco, I want to just bring to the board's attention a matter that Adele had forwarded over to me, because we got an inquiry, or Adele got an inquiry from the attorney, Mr. Goulias, to both Adele and to Kathleen Neville, the secretary of the Westfield Planning Board. It was in the application at like Exhibit 9 or Exhibit 10, but we did not really have any discussion before this board. I just want to point it out that two-family that we granted the certificate of nonconformity to last month
And that's this one.
is like 90% in Westfield.
Oops.
Well, it was properly before this board, I'm not suggesting that, and I'm also not suggesting that it was not disclosed in the application, but there was no discussion or, I think, highlighting of that fact in the application that was presented to this board. I'm not suggesting that anything would have been different in any way, but I think it's something that the board would have liked to have had perhaps a little more highlighted than it was. I don't view it in any ways as a defect or that it's technically improper, but that I think should have merited a little bit of discussion.
And I totally agree.
And the nature of The follow-up inquiry from Mr. Goy is that apparently there are going to be some variances necessary. So I would imagine he's going to be coming back, and he's making a request jointly of Garwood and Westfield as to whether or not there could be a joint hearing on that. There are procedures in the municipal land use law for doing that. I don't really know that it's, I mean, the classic case that we had of that was predated my time on the planning board, which was ShopRite, which the first thing I ever did for this planning board was to defend that approval. I don't really think that the variances that would be necessary for this two-family house on 4th Avenue merit a combined hearing. I think Westfield can decide whatever they want to decide. This board can decide whatever it wants to decide. But it's just out there, and I just think everybody should know.
Hey, Don, I got a question on that. Like, if all their taxes go to Garwood, even though part of the property is in Westfield, okay, like my house, I got 2 lots in Cranford in my backyard. So do I have to go in front of the Cranford Planning Board too every time I want something to do? Because all my taxes go to Garwood.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Shearer, that you would like some private legal advice that I'd be very happy to provide at my hourly rate? Actually, it's interesting. I had a
No, I asked my lawyer about it
No,
when I closed on it.
I actually had a case a couple of years ago, right? People who had property that was partly in Roselle and partly in Cranford, and the property was more in Cranford than it was in Roselle, but there was an intermunicipal agreement that went back like 70 or 80 years as to where the town borderline was, and depending on where you were, that was how they taxed you, and that's who gave you services. And this property that I'm talking about, even though it was mostly in Cranford, was stuck in Roselle, and the people really wanted to call themselves Cranford and get into the Cranford schools, and we filed a complaint, and we were in Superior Court, and there's a whole mess about it. It really depends. The short answer, Bob, is who's providing services and who's taxing you, and there's usually an intermunicipal agreement as to who will tax each property, and sometimes the 2 towns tax them separately, and you have to pay taxes to both.
I'm gonna make sure when I bought my house, I want to make sure that in 30 years, I don't get a big tax bill from Cranford, you know, that I never paid. But apparently, no. That's basically what was.
It's apparent, and I didn't know
it.
I didn't know it until I had that case,
Yeah.
but apparently it is not uncommon, I've now learned, that a municipal border may bisect the property, and then there's just an understanding that one of the towns will tax that whole property. And that's, I guess, who provides the services.
I have a question. What happens if we did have a combined board hearing on it?
We're not going to do that.
I understand, but how would you get a quorum on that? How many votes would you have to have?
That would be an excellent question that the board would perhaps like to commission some research on.
There we go again.
I don't know is the answer.
But didn't we, a few years back, I think it was on 4th Avenue down there, we had the Westfield board sent us something, they were doing something at one of the houses over there.
Oh, I think that was only for our information, I think. It was just there.
Right. Again, it was not for nothing that I know I mentioned this, but this is going to be coming back. And the fact that, I think Adele, you sent it to me, was it yesterday or the day before, right even before I sat down to write this resolution, I said to Adele, you know, I didn't really remember that part of the discussion, that was partly in Westfield. But if you went back and you looked at that fancy book that we were handling as part of the application, it does disclose it in there. So I'm not saying that there was something untoward in any way, but it could have been mentioned. It could have been mentioned a little bit. That's all.
So if they come back for a variance, they're going to come back here, and what they're asking for is, should Westfield be a part of the?
No.
No? What's the joint?
They need relief from both towns.
From both towns, so they have to go separately to each town or what? Well, we don't know yet. We don't know what the
There
variance is.
are at least setback issues, Bill. I can
But if
see.
it's a certificate of nonconformity in an existing house, what variances come into play?
Unless they want to expand.
Make
I
it
think they're gonna look to increase the size of that house.
Yeah, I'm sure that's.
The density variance.
Well, maybe Westfield doesn't have an appraisal borrower.
No, they're given certificate of non-conformity, so they can.
Again, at this juncture, this is premature, but I'm just, as we are memorializing this resolution, I thought it was worthy of mention.
But as they do come forward, or if they do come forward, then it would be before this board of the whole.
No, I think it would be before both boards in two separate hearings.
So are there, then there must be two, I would assume that each town has a separate set of rules. Our setback may not be the same as Westfield's setback.
That is-
Other
that is-
issues.
That is correct.
Okay.
Let's say the house doesn't go into Westfield.
The house
I'll
is
tell you,
split.
this house, when you look at it, this house is like 80–90% a Westfield house. The frontage is in Garwood. Because I've now seen where the property line is. It's more Westfield than Garwood by far.
It'll be interesting.
Bill, did you have another question?
No, I was just curious what variances, but Don mentioned that.
Well, if everyone would take.
So then this, what we did for them, the non-conforming use was, okay,
I think it's okay, but they may have to also get Westfield to say it's okay.
okay.
Not our problem.
Well, it's possible the tax map in Westfield would be zoned differently, obviously, for that area than our map.
Right, but if in fact it was non-conforming, it would be non-conforming to Westfield as well, one would think. But that is not our problem.
Right. Interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so if everyone would take a couple of minutes and review this resolution.
And none of this is in the resolution. What's wrong with that?
It just sounds, doesn't sound.
It's absolutely correct.
I make a motion that we accept the resolution as written.
So I hear a second.
Second.
William Yearstead,
Aye.
Patty Elijah,
Aye.
Robert Shear,
Yes.
Paul Tarantino,
Yes.
Dean Tenati,
Yes.
and Michael Dino.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we had an ordinance review that was presented to us, or is presented to us based on a reading last night. That's ordinance 17-08, and it was in your packet. Now, is that the revised copy? No?
No,
No.
the latest revision was circulated electronically.
This is with the fence, yes. It's an ordinance which is pursuant to ordinance 1708, amending chapter 106-118 regarding fences on the corner property. Now, I had a question that I proposed last night, was that, what is the rationale behind the ordinance? I wasn't sure whether we had a backlog of variances that seems to create this situation, or is it strictly just, I would like to know why we're doing a change to the ordinance if there is no specific reason that I know of or I'm aware of, other than what was told to me last night, that the person on the council did not feel that it was government's place to put restrictions on fences. And she got numerous phone calls.
And I've been on the board for a number of years. I don't know how long I've been on the board, and I don't recall a fence being asked for, especially like, anybody else recall? Bob? you've been on the board longer than myself.
For fences?
I guess not. Okay.
I recall, not for a variance, but I recall that our zoning officer, it's got to be going back at least 10 years, our zoning officer had to go out and tell a person to move their fence.
Well, usually the fence is already
There,
there.
it
We had
was
to,
there,
it was already there, but
it was-
we had to move them over.
You know, you had to have them move them, because they were protruding out too close to the street, the side yard, so there was no side yard setback. But I haven't, I've been here almost 17 years, and I can't recall.
Nothing for a front yard fence, we never had a front yard fence.
Yeah.
So it is possible if somebody wanted to have a 6-foot fence on a corner property, they could come back to our board and apply for variance. And go under the regular variance rules that we would then rule on the validity of their request. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And to our knowledge, we haven't had anybody do that in 17 years plus.
I haven't.
No,
I don't recall.
not that I'm aware of.
I personally am offended by 6-foot fences on corner property. I think they're way too high, and I don't think they're necessary. I think there are some in our town that shouldn't be there, and one right near my house on the corner of West and Spruce. Someone put up a 6-foot white vanilla vinyl fence that I don't think should be there. It's beyond, but they did it, and I don't think anyone ever stopped them from doing it. But I think it looks ugly, and I don't think any back to our corner property should have anything higher than a 4-foot fence.
And they, and if they wanted to, get rid of the 4-foot and make it 6-foot, like you didn't even have to change the H section, you can just say, because if you read the ordinance, if you read 106, 118, A through G, it sets forth about 6-foot fences, okay? So H was added in, I think, 2014 or 15. So to have an ordinance like this, and also, in reading 106, 118, it indicates under E, okay? It refers to 106, 111 of this chapter with regard to the hazard, a 106, 111 is not specifically for what it refers to with the site, so people can see. So that itself should be changed. E should be 106-112. Council, really looked at 106-118, I think that they should have actually seen that should have been also changed. But I don't feel there's, at this point in time, without any reasoning, I do not feel at this time that it should be changed, especially in light of the fact that we haven't had any variances here with regard to fences. And,
One correction though, we did have two. The fence place on South Avenue, remember we let them put an 8-foot fence, and McDonald's.
but both of them
But they were part of the board.
specifically
Yeah.
for the fence. They were part of a big
Yeah,
application.
I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure we had those two.
Yeah.
That wasn't,
So we don't
that wasn't
see
a
that.
corner lot.
Corner.
though.
Not
corner
lots.
That was not a corner lot.
No, it wasn't corner lot. I'm just talking about
Basically,
fences,
buffer.
the fence on
Yeah.
general, the height,
Yeah.
just to make sure, because I said something before, we never had it, but then, not on a specific corner lot.
Yes.
I think we did the same thing at Home Depot. They have a 6-foot fence now that they put up on the back property by the railroad.
Yeah, but these fences are gonna be tall, you know, 8 foot tall fences, we let them put up, so.
Well, that's an individual case, right?
Well, yeah, they're individual, they came in front of the board and to keep, you know, separated from the public, from the private, to keep the noise and whatnot.
Point is, that's not really part of this ordinance change.
No.
No.
Bill?
I think the important thing to recognize with this proposal is its impact. And I don't know if council has actually recognized its impact. And
Speak up a little bit.
I think the important thing to recognize about this proposal is its impact. I don't know if council has really looked at its impact. You know, I'm on Hickory, so I can picture the streets on Hickory, okay? If you picture Hickory, you're coming down East Street, okay? Every one of the houses on East faces Hickory or Hemlock or Hazel or Pine all the way down.
Right.
What this would allow is every single one of those houses then have a 6-foot fence along their entire side yard. And so basically, it goes back to that comment someone made years ago about, you know, the Great Wall of Garwood. You'd have 6-foot fences down the entire East Street. You could have it, picture every one of those houses that faces the Hickory, Hemlock, Hazel, etc. All of those could have the 6-foot fence on East. You turn the corners, you go on any of the side, every one of the side streets, every corner lot could have this 6-foot fence, and on East, on West, on the north side, on Oak, on maybe not on Walnut, but certainly on Cedar, where you have the houses facing the main drag. Picture every one of those houses having a 6-foot fence along their entire side yard width. I don't think that's the look we want for Garwood for property values or for anything else. I just don't see I don't see how this advances property values in the borough of Garwood.
Yeah, I just don't see the rationale behind instituting an ordinance when it didn't seem to be any indication that it was really necessary, number one. And number two, and even if you do, I'm in agreement with you. I think having a 6-foot fence on a corner lot does. Aesthetically, it just doesn't look, it segregates, almost segregates that whole area from the rest of the block, and it's just, I just don't think it makes sense.
Like I said, just go down East, West Street and Spruce, that corner.
Joe, have you received anything from the safety, like about the safety with regard to this ordinance from the chief? Like,
I have not received any correspondence.
You have not received any correspondence?
From the chief or in regards to this. Obviously, there's a couple weeks in between, and obviously I think this meeting will have some kind of correspondence back to the council. And as I told you, I just want to listen to what the board's opinion was about this ordinance.
Do you have any other information that you can provide to the planning board from the council regarding this particular ordinance change?
The only thing I could provide is it would almost reiterate in a way like what was said last night, that the rationale behind it was you want to change this back from or not change it back, but maybe government shouldn't be writing the laws per se on this. So I'm like, okay, let's introduce this, and then it's going to the planning board the next time anyway. So I want to hear where everyone is on it. I really took a very open stance to this, and I want to hear where everyone feels that this is a non-neighborly thing to do, or it's going to affect the different properties adversely. I would like to hear that kind of thing, going forward. If we should go forth with this, or how should we vote on it?
But at this point, all we can do is make a recommendation back to the council, and the council makes the final determination. Correct?
Correct. That's basically the same thing that we did.
Right. So I certainly am in favor of making a recommendation that they not adopt this particular ordinance, that putting a 6-foot fence on corner property would be aesthetically not pleasing, and it just doesn't. It has a significant impact on the way the town looks, and I don't think it should be changed. That's my opinion.
And I guess from the standpoint of just an informal straw poll would be paid, which would be appropriate, no doubt.
That's fine.
You need it.
Okay.
Well, ultimately, it's gonna have to be a motion.
Yeah.
Somebody would have to make a motion to either recommend to the town council that this ordinance move forward, that this ordinance not move forward, or that it be somehow amended, would be the three possible recommendations that I could think of that the board might be able to make. Bill, did-
And just for clarification, they took out the open fence section, right? That's
Also,
Right.
yes.
Also,
They
They
also,
want,
took that.
Oh, I'm sorry, also,
They also,
took that out.
in the revision that they sent, that open fence was taken out.
okay, so it'd be a closed, they're proposing a 6-foot closed fence.
Correct.
Okay.
It could be an open or a closed. It doesn't have to be just open.
But a closed would be permitted.
A closed would be permitted.
Except if it's a.
So what is our
swimming pool.
definition of an
Swimming-
open fence, just for
Picket,
clarification?
just a picket.
Picket fence.
That you could see through?
Not a chain link fence?
No. Well, chain link is
Chain
open,
link's
chain link's
open
not
also.
permitted.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think a chain link.
All right,
No, the only thing not permitted is barbed wire.
Yeah, fences are not permitted when required front yards and are not chain link.
Yeah, all right. I just want to make sure. But thank you for the clarification. I just want to be sure about that.
Okay, so do I hear a motion?
Yeah, I certainly been vocal about this, so I'll make a motion that we send back to the council recommendation that they not adopt this particular ordinance.
And I second that.
William Nierstead,
Aye. Come in there for aye and yes.
Steve Green,
Yes.
Kathy Bellagio,
Aye.
Robert Shear,
Yes.
Paul Tarantino,
Yes.
Gene Genati.
Yes.
Mike Venus,
Yes.
Steve Napolitano,
Yes.
John Malcolm.
Yes.
And Denise Renetti.
so some combination of the ayes and yeses happen.
Unanimous vote.
Unanimous vote.
I'm sure this will be.
Just say no.
Do you have to send something back to the council?
Would you like me to just do a memo?
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we have some new business, well, it's old new business, update from subcommittees, and that's one of these, a review of proposed new forms and checklists. Yeah?
Yes, we've been, the subcommittee on the forms, we sent this out a couple months ago, and we haven't really met. So since, we didn't have anything, nothing to hear today, an application, we thought that we would send this package out and that, let us know your thoughts.